Good afternoon. Welcome to the December 16th, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting at College of the Redwoods. Please join me in a salute to the flag and the my country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving to 1.3, our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that College of Redwoods is located on the unceded territory of the Wiyot, Hupa, Karuk, Mattole, Howrah, Wailaki, and Yurok people, where they have resided from time immemorial. We encourage all to gain a deeper understanding of their history and thriving culture as an expression of our gratitude for their genuine and committed to developing trusting, reciprocal, and long-lasting partnerships between the people as well as all of our operating tribes. Moving to general public comments.
There are none.
Thank you, Jane. Takes us to agenda item 3.1, member comments. Usually I look to my left. I'm going to look to my right first. Any member comments down there? Yes. Mr. Roberts.
I wanted to share that I attended the Law Enforcement Academy graduation last week on the 11th, and it was a lovely event. So thanks to all who put it on. I also wanted to thank Dr. Morse for the speech that you gave. I learned a lot about you, and I thought it was really honoring to the students and the work and inspired. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Diggins.
I was able to watch a couple of Zoom meetings with Jennifer's office with someone. The first one was called Exploring AI-Driven Strategies for Equitable Hiring and Retention. And that was on the 3rd of December. They talked about some modules that they have developed that focus on bias in hiring and had some examples of how districts can do policy reviews and review their onboarding activities. There was also Dr. Latoya Jackson from Sierra College, who's been BEO and IE. We talked about the job fair that's coming up in LA in January. Then the last one was introduced. Really too technical for trustee. It was called The Next Chapter in AI Integration and Best Practices. And that's really meant for the professionals, faculty and administration and managers. But it just made me, as a trustee, appreciate the learning curve that our employees are going through right now in terms of AI. And also they talked about their cohorts. They have this AI fellows. I don't know if the Siskiyou, College of the Siskiyou has some AI fellows. I don't know if our district has them AI fellows. But there certainly has been a lot of field testing about the use of AI at all levels of community college programs and instruction. So I won't watch any more of those in that series, but it did make me appreciate that is being extended out to all the districts to be exposed to.
Thank you, Trustee Diggins. Mr. Roberts.
Thank you. On November 25th, I attended the Donald Healthcare District Board of Directors meeting in support of the College of the Redwoods Foundation request for a donation to support the expense of hiring experts to curriculum for 3 new healthcare training programs. And the healthcare district did approve the donation of $59,000 to support that curriculum development. On December 3rd, I listened to the same webinar about using AI in hiring and retention practices. I think it's something that you'd have to do on a practice, so to speak, an education basis before you actually attempted to use that in some hiring process. But it is available. On December 9th, I participated in the agenda planning meeting with President Flamer and Board President Mallory. And on December 13th, I attended the Fire Academy graduation, which was interesting and well organized. The theater was full. There were 26 graduates, including 4 women. And very entertaining video made by one of the students demonstrated, literally, the wide range of skills covered in the curriculum for that program. So it was fun, but I really learned a lot about the Fire Academy and everything that's covered. I was pleased to meet Director Professor Sean Robertson for the first time. And I do think that Rachel Warzy deserves a lot of credit for the success of that ceremony. It's beautifully run. Yeah, that's it.
Did you have a board comment, Trustee Town?
Yes. On December 5th, I attended the CR holiday party. And it was very well attended and everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. It was just a nice event where I think people felt really happy to be there, and it's a good sign for the college, I think. Also, I listened to the Key TV Freedom of Speech, where President Flamer and Molly Blakemore had as their guests Professor John Johnston and Natalia Merlis. And that was very interesting. It brought some really good points. So that was nice. Also, December 11th, I also attended the Police Academy graduation. And I want to thank Dr. Crystal Morris for her speech. It was very enlightening and you did a really good job. Thank you. And congratulations to the cadets. I think most of them had jobs lined up for them already. And on December 13th, I attended the Fire Academy graduation. And that was everything that Trustee Matthews said. And congratulations. And Rachel, you did an awesome job, like she said. So thank you for that and all your hard work you put in.
Yes, Trustee Town.
So first off, I wanted to acknowledge 2 of my fellow trustees that we are starting our 19th year. Yes, yes.
You are.
That's that's how it's really something. So, yeah. So we have survived 18 years together.
Yeah.
So first off, I'd like to mention, thank you for sending me to the conference in November. It was one of the best conferences I have ever attended. It's one of the few conferences I left going, it was worth the money the college spent to send me there. It was just incredible sessions, general sessions, and it was great spending time with my fellow trustee, Rice. His depth and breadth of his knowledge just is incredible. Although he takes a lot of notes, you know, and I kept telling him, CR doesn't pay you by the word like your clients do. But anyhow, that was a great part of it. First thing I wanted to mention, I have my report, but a couple of things I wanted to hit on. First one was the Brown Act. And I think Trustee Rice is going to follow up on that. The legislature has made some major revisions to it. And both of us were confused in the session about what those actually mean. So he's going to go on to that. The biggest thing I wanted to check on was that everything comes to an end. It was an 1.5-hour session, and it was about a president that was leaving office. And I wish they had recorded it because the information was absolutely incredible. And one thing that they made very clear is that a community, we need to be united as an entire college community when we go out starting the search process. That there's a college down south that when the president announced he or she was retiring, a faction started emailing. And it's very nasty right now. And as they said, what president would want to come work for this institution? So my one huge take home is that we need to be totally united, which we are now. The college is in an incredible position to be going out for a search. And the other thing they mentioned is be grateful for the cabinet. That we really appreciate the work that the cabinet does and the time that the president has done in creating that incredible cabinet that you are. And so that was it. Another one that was somewhat interesting was the new trustee training. And I actually had issues with it and went up and talked to them because they had a new trustee that went to the academic senate, just, did various things that we were taught not to do. And they were very proud of being on first name basis. And so it was a good step looking at how far we have moved forward in the entire thing. And speaking of how far forward we've moved, I had the rare distinction of making a flight from Honolulu to the Marshall Islands. And I sat next to the president of the country, the president of Marshall Islands, who's also, as we decided, 35,000 miles up in the air. They're accredited by ACJC too. And so we started talking about ACJC, and she goes, and Barbara Bino. Yeah. How many people in this room remember those dark ages of Barbara Bino and being on Show Cause? And so it was just her take on it and everything. But when I thought about being on Show Cause, I thought the board was represented by an incredible president of the board at that time, Dr. Mullery, and who made countless, several trips down to LA to testify in front of the commission. She dedicated her life and everything while she still had a job to this institution to help get us through that process. And I wanted to acknowledge that incredible dedication you had, and also thank you for serving yet another year, as this is your last meeting as the president. And thank you again for serving as president and your dedication and just everything you do. Thank you.
Trustee Warren.
Yeah.
Trustee Burns.
Just to also express my gratitude for the chance to go to the annual convention, November 20th to 22nd. I found it really fascinating. I think the range of topics resonated a lot with my relatively brief experience at CR, including they had a couple sessions on free speech, which is something that this college had already grappled with. And you could tell a lot of people were very interested to learn what to do, what it sounded like College of the Redwoods had already done. Also, fraud. They talked a lot about fraud, which is another thing we heard a presentation on, and the team here at CR has been grappling with. And I assume they're communicating on with the folks at Sierra College as well on how that's working. But it is to note, it is an expanding aspect. It integrates AI. Now they're using AI to conduct fraud and then trying to use AI to catch the fraud. So it's an interesting scenario where they have gotten, does seem like there's an opportunity for the community colleges to continue to work and build on their grappling with that fraud issue as it evolved very quickly. I think one of the things I found most fascinating was the AI discussion because it permeated everything. There's a lot there, and some of it's been touched on. I don't know what involves the trustee perspective. I know a lot of people are thinking about it. My key takeaway is probably that it affects the students and how they do the work. And I know teachers and professors, everybody is trying to figure out how to handle that. And also how you integrate AI and use it, because it's going to be the tool that shapes many of the work, many of how people live their lives and what work they do. But then the third piece that was touched on a little bit, but is still less known, is exactly what jobs are still going to be around or what they're going to look like once as AI gets more integrated. I think that I just found that so interesting because you can tell people are thinking about it, but it's in the very early stages of what people actually are going to do in response to AI and how it evolves. One of the key opportunities, though, it seemed like people were really excited about community colleges because of the skills that you learn are the ones that are less susceptible to being, I guess they're more AI proof, probably the wrong word, but than a lot of other universities. So there was a lot of excitement, I think, around that idea. I also found there was a one on, attention. Which was super fascinating. It's in the notes, but our attention span has apparently gone from 2.5 minutes to 47 seconds. And we switch screens 566 times a day. Which I observe in my kids and myself, so I think that's why that resonated with me. Brown Act, you mentioned the Brown Act, SB 707, it's super confusing as to what entities it applies to. I'm sure we're already on board, but we're definitely gonna need to grapple with how that may or may not affect College of the Redwoods. It sounded like they were still unsure. A lot of the community college were quite clear where it would apply. It was I like that session. Actually, all the sessions, it was comforting because there's just a lot of lawyers, so I felt it.
We tried to hide it.
Yeah. And then new trustee onboarding, agree with that. That was helpful. I guess my take as a newer trustee was the things that they said about their advice on it was reflected a lot of my experience coming on board here, which I found encouraging as well. Except for the part about being on first name basis with everybody, I get that. And then the CEO partner, the board CEO partnership and CEO transitions. That was Brian King, Los Rios Community College District, and it was very interesting. And he made some points about what's going on. There's just a lot of changes this year. It can be done really well, and when the CEO has set things up, it sounds like it can be a really good process. So I feel optimistic about where we are relative to some of the questions raised by other colleges. Was I supposed to say anything else? Did I talk too long?
No, not at all.
Anybody want to talk about AI more?
No. I would.
It's trustee Joyner.
So I just want to mention that I am going to request when we do the new subject, or the trustees requested further information, the Brown Act. Just that I think we really need to be updated on it because of significant changes. So
You should wait for that point.
I will, but I just wanted to get you.
Advance notice.
So yes,
Thank you. trustee.
after 19 years.
Yeah, we figured it. Okay. I think that moves us to 3.2, board committee reports. I have one. I don't know if there are other board committee reports. Okay, the ad hoc committee on the evaluation of the president also took on the responsibility to review our search committee administrative procedures and protocols, because we were anticipating a possible announcement. So we have worked on that, and as you've seen, we have done some revisions and they have been approved, so we're set to go. The committee met again this morning before our board meeting, just to talk about how we were moving forward with President Flander's announcement. And I'll talk a little bit more about that announcement later in the agenda. But for today, for the moment, in terms of the committee report, the ad hoc committee has asked that President Flamer conduct some research on search committee firms, because we anticipate using a search committee firm when we open up our search, and that will really go full force in January. Also, we have directed President Flamer to begin work on setting up a website for the search, so that everyone in the community can see a timeline for where we are in the search process. I think it's important that everyone is well aware of where we are, how they can be involved, and we just want to be transparent and make sure that everyone is completely aware of our search committee process. So we've asked President Flamer to do those two things. There obviously will be more to discuss about the search in January, but I just wanted to inform you that I think we're in a good position to move forward with the search. And that's my only ad hoc committee report. I see no further reports. So that'll take us to 3.3, status of Board of Trustees request. We look at this every meeting. Any questions regarding this? Seeing none, we're going to review the Board of Trustee goals. Again, this is something that we have on our agenda with regularity. So I'm sure we're paying attention to what we said we were going to do. A couple of comments, but I wanted to look around and see if there's anything anyone would like to say about our goals. Yes.
I did have a question. Relative, when I was reading through reviewing the goals,
Mhm.
it's not directly related to the CEO search, but it seems like there's some way that that activity and these goals are related or not.
And not really, not at this stage. I mean, when we designed these goals, there was nothing close to an announcement from President Klamer regarding the retirement. So it was not something that was applicable to those goals. Are you saying that?
No, I think I worded my question backwards. It didn't make sense. But how do you look at the goals in light of what we know now? That's what I was really, does that make sense? More than,
No, it does. And in January, we will have a workshop.
okay,
At that workshop, we will be reviewing and revising goals as appropriate. It's kind of like a workshop thing.
perfect, that makes sense.
That's a word.
Workshop.
But thank you for raising. Good observation. The only thing that, is there anything else on the goals? I mean, I just observed a couple of things that I thought we were doing quite well, or that the college was doing quite well. One regarding supporting the administration's efforts to maintain academic freedom and a safe, welcoming environment for students, faculty, and staff at our instructional sites. Really appreciative for all that the college is doing, and you have full support of the board and trying to ensure that we do all we can to maintain academic freedom. And board development, I'm really appreciative of my trustee colleagues for all that they are doing to increase their own knowledge about major and social and economic issues. So I'm very appreciative. We're making good progress in that area. That takes us to, yes, trustee Jordan.
I just wanted to mention that I have some concerns over 4B. Mostly because I'm in the process of getting recertified, and I'm just not sure how much resources the CCLC is giving to the program. Meaning I ended up having to write the president of CCLC because my emails asking some questions were never answered. And then in fact, I finally got a different answer a couple days later and says, well, they'll get back to me next week. So, I mean, I say we leave it in there, but yet.
In response to that, there's been a turnover in the leadership of their education department. I'm on the ACES committee, and we will be meeting with the newest manager of that program in January. But they've lost their runners, so to speak. And so it's in a time of transition. I don't think you need to worry about timelines or anything like that. But I would appreciate any real concrete questions that you have that I can share with the community.
Okay, I sent them to the president, actually.
Larry?
Well, they were forwarded on him, but to the board president.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sue,
Sue, yeah,
okay.
yeah. But anyway, we'll talk later.
Yeah. It's a staffing problem, like more than anything else.
I think we're ready to move on to our next agenda item. I picked it up, the CCT board nomination. We nominate for membership on the California Community College Trustees Board. In the past, we have invited Trustee Reagan to sign the nomination on our behalf because she is very familiar with the machinations of CCT, and they're very familiar with many of the members. So this is an action item.
May I add a little clarification? I think the true, point of this agenda item is if there's anyone on this board who would like to run for the Triple CT board, they have to have the approval of the district, via the board of trustees. We don't have to nominate somebody to run, but if somebody on this board wants to run, they've got to have our approval in order to submit an application to run for that board.
Okay, that was my misunderstanding. I
Yeah.
thought that you would be voting on behalf of the board.
Well, later that would be an option.
Got it.
There's,
Okay.
because they had some vacancies, they did some appointments, and so this year there's really only about 2 open seats. Most everybody else is an incumbent. But again, it is our opportunity to approve someone from this board who would like to run for that position thing.
So in terms, I'm sorry.
No.
In terms of the recommended action, we're recommending that the board support the trustee's application to run for the Triple CT board. We have that as an action item.
Yeah.
So if a trustee were interested in running for the board, then our action on this item is approving that nomination. Saying that correctly?
Right. I almost had trustee Dorn talked into it last year, but it just didn't quite cut it.
So is there a motion to approve this recommended action? Well, it's just that what we're approving, because this is an action item, is that if a trustee from our board applies for Triple C
I move for
board,
approval.
we would support that nomination.
A second.
All those in favor of this action item, please say aye.
Aye.
Objections, it is approved. Thank you for clarifying that, Trustee Gay. I had that backwards. And we're ready for this next item because we're ready to go into the seat. We're doing the 4.1, the election of officers for the next calendar year. The electing officers for president, vice president, and clerk. Just slight background on this, there was an ad hoc committee that was convened, appointed during the October Board of Trustees meeting. And that ad hoc committee did come forward in November with a recommended slate of candidates. That slate included Trustee Matthews for president of the board, Trustee Dorn for vice president of the board, and Trustee Lorraine Petrati for clerk of the board. So that was just simply the slate the ad hoc committee brought forward. According to our process, anyone can be nominated from the board. We will be moving forward with a motion for president, then vice president, and then clerk of the board. So I am first looking for a nomination for president of the board.
I nominate Carol Matthews.
I second it. A question about parliamentary procedure. Is the recommendation of the slate, is that considered a motion and then we just second it?
I reread the procedure
Okay.
practice on this, and it sounded to me that each one should be voted on.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
no, I had the same sort of question. But, we do it one by one. With, of course, the opportunity for anyone else who might want to nominate something else. So did I hear a second for
I
trustee
second.
Matthews? Is there further discussion on this?
I'm slightly confused. Are we nominating or electing? Or are we voting to elect?
Yeah, I'm just reading our procedure. The president of the board will recognize members for nominations for the office of president of the board.
I thought that the nominating committee's nominations already stand. So that would be if there was an additional nomination.
Not according to what I'm reading ours. Okay, yeah. So, but I appreciate the clarification. We want to make sure we have this right. That's why I have it in front of me and I've read it several times. That doesn't mean I'm not misreading it. But what we have on the floor right now is a nomination for trustee Carol Matthews to serve as president of the board, and has been seconded. Now we're voting to elect you as the nominee for president of the company. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sentence. Big work. You all know where we're going. Trustee Matthews serving as president of the board for the next calendar year. Please say aye. Objections? Hearing none. President Matthews. Congratulations. That moves us to vice president of the board. Is there a nomination for trustee to serve as vice president of the board?
I'll make a motion
And who would that
to
be?
nominate Celebrate Trustee Dorn.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I just say, would we consider it an additional nomination?
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely. Yeah, and at this point, is there any other questions or comments regarding this? Hearing none, are we ready to vote on trustee Dorn serving as vice president of the board? All those in favor of trustee Dorn serving as vice president of the board, please say aye.
Aye.
Objections? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Vice President. I'm already calling you vice president, trustee Dorn. And that takes us to clerk of the board. I'm seeking nominations to serve for clerk of the board. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate trustee Pedrati.
Is
I second.
there any further nominations, questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, nominations are closed. All those in favor of trustee Pedrati serving as clerk of the board, please say aye.
Aye.
Objections? Congratulations, trustee. Thank you for your service. Comment, please. Of course. Yeah, you're.
No, I would just like to take the opportunity to echo what trustee Dorn has already said. And thank you for your service as president once again. Which was actually extended because you had to step in and fill the office of president for part of the last term. And I think you just bring great leadership to the board, big shoes to fill. And I look forward to your ongoing support all next year.
Of course, that's very kind of you. Actually, I had a comment too, but maybe I shouldn't comment anymore. I first wanted to recognize my two trustee colleagues and thank them for taking on board leadership. I also wanted to personally thank all who have supported me this year serving as board president. Specifically, I want to call out trustee Matthew as vice president because she has served as a sounding board for me, which was very important. There were times I just needed to say, what was I supposed to do there, or how did that go? I also wanted to thank President Klamer. He is instrumental in ensuring that our board agendas are constructed. Clarity in highlighting the important issues of the district. So he's definitely brings these meetings move relatively smoothly. I also want to thank the Academic Senate and other representatives who sit around this table, our student trustee. Thank you for your participation. I also want to thank the staff and faculty who present important updates during our agenda. They're always enlightening and they're always most appreciated. So thank you all. And final special thanks to Ms. Julie Gilbride, who keeps us all on track and meeting preparations and agreements. Thank you all. You're the ones who make these things work. That moves us to a review of our ethics and trustee protocols. That's agenda 34.2. This is something that we have in our agenda, which I think is really a healthy thing to do. Are there any specific comments? Yes, Christine.
I have lots of green highlighted things on these, don't need to be read, but I would like to point out both in the BP and in the A2, that this is our roadmap, our guideline, our definition of our lane, our role, our relationships with each other, with the administration, with the community, with our constituents on the campus. And it really is very clear and pretty specific. So I encourage us all to, pull it out, which is what purpose of having it on the agenda is. To really review that, and when there's an issue, look at the policy and then ask your questions and, get things. It's that, and our board goals are such an important background for us doing our job.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking around. I always find it really enlightening to reread these, and, they're really well done.
It's because you wrote them.
Really well. The one I've kind of focused on is have respect for others and to act with civility. For those of you who have gone to some conferences, we're very fortunate that our board does act with civility, because when you're out there, you can hear just horror stories, the way that some trustees behave at the table and with each other. And I think that goes an incredibly long way for our work to be successful. So I'm very proud of this board. I'm very proud of my trustee colleagues, because I think they really do abide by the word and the spirit of our code of ethics. It's very apparent to me. Trustee Dorn.
I just want to follow up on that, and I actually read them several times. A lot was because of the training at the conference for new trustees, and how many of our protocols they violate. We're not minor. And then also at the conferences, hearing some of the stories of one trustee negotiating with the electrical union. That how great the protocols are here and the ethics, and how we really do follow them.
Yeah, we do.
And it's just not a piece of paper with words. So I mean, yeah, thank you.
Well, I think we have visitors. And without objection from my colleagues, I'd love to move us ahead to agenda item 7.1, which is recognitions, because I'm sure our visitors have other things to do today besides standing in the back of the boardroom.
Why don't y'all continue to walk into the boardroom?
Come on in.
So we can all acknowledge you.
What else we done?
They are. Kids,
President Flamer, why don't you kick this off?
certainly. Ryan Bizia, would you mind doing the honors, please?
Would you mind if I have a seat?
Of course.
First of all, thank you for allowing us to appear today and celebrate these accomplishments of these student athletes representing almost all of our 16 sport offerings, which is a record here at College of the Redwoods. I'd like to thank Dr. Flamer, of course, our administration and the board for continuing to provide the resources it requires to provide these kids with such great experiences and exciting outcomes as they move through their time here at College of the Redwoods. I'd like to have each one of them, if it's okay, introduce themselves, the sport that they play, and where they're from. Good.
Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, as Dr. Flamer alluded to, my name is Ryan Gigio. I'm the athletic director. Thank you.
And Ryan, would you mind telling who the coaches are in the room before we get to the students?
Yes, we have Coach Brandon Benvenuti. Over here, he is our men and women's wrestling coach. Kenzie Benvenuti, his wife. was also here in attendance, and I believe, since we're just wrapping up our department meeting right now, that they're the only ones available in here at the moment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Donald, would you mind if we started with you?
100%. I'm Donald Bickle. I'm from Fortuna. I'm a freshman here and I play basketball.
My name's Gabby Crosway. I'm from Fortuna and I run cross country and track. I'm Nicole Torres. I'm from Grove City and I play women's basketball. I'm Nora Talty. I'm from Arcata and I play women's basketball. I'm Paige. I'm from Newcastle. I'm Tori Nystrom. I'm from Susanville, California, and I play women's basketball. I'm Jocelyn Ortega Miranda and I'm from Eureka and I play women's soccer. I'm Jordan. I'm from Fortuna and I play women's. I'm Elastic Baldwin. I'm from Fortuna and I play women's soccer. I'm Rowan Duran. I play women's volleyball.
I'm Kyler Smith. I play football and I'm from Eureka.
I'm Mark Lauren. I'm from Louisville and Marlboro.
I'm Jared Williams. I'm on the wrestling team. I'm Sam Blue. I'm on the wrestling team. I'm from Susanville, California. I'm Caleb Aguilera. I wrestle and from
I'm Ashla Silva. I'm from the women's wrestling team and I'm from I'm Madrina Mace. I'm from Louisville, California, and I do women's wrestling. I'm Darlene Suarez, and I'm from Montecito, California, and I'm in the women's wrestling.
This is Guerrero. I'm from Fortuna, California, and I play women's soccer.
I'm William Mooney. I'm from Eureka and I play men's soccer. I'm Mauricio Herrera. I'm from Fortuna and I play soccer.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being here. I mean, you are what we're all about. We're about student success. You make us proud every time you step on the field or the court or the mat, wherever you're stepping, the rodeo, the circuit. You make us all very proud, and it's just a wonderful reminder to the board. Not that we really need reminding, but it's a good reminder that it is really all about you, what we try to do. So thank you for taking the time. I know this is a very busy time of year to join us and introduce yourself, and thank you.
And congratulations on all your success.
President Flamer.
Kyle. You're Kyle Smith, right? Kyler, your grandfather is immensely proud. He talks to me about you every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. I just want you to know. Anyway, he's very proud of you. Congratulations.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, thank you all for exercising your talents here at CR too, because it adds to the community and there's a lot of little kids, some of them are mine, that look up to you guys, and that's cool.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Good job.
Hey. Back to the books.
I think they had a lot of fun in here, don't you guys?
It was the highlight of their day. I think.
I know. How about this one?
I think I know where we're at. I think and thank you for arranging that. We're gonna go back to recognitions later, but we wanted to make sure that we took advantage of the students being here and letting them introduce themselves and then move on to whatever students do in the spot. It's gonna take us to the consent calendar action items. Any board member may remove an item from the consent calendar, place it under discussion. Do we have anyone who would like to pull an item? Trustee Dorn?
5.2 and 5.3.
Okay. I'll also be pulling 5.2. Is there a motion?
I move for approval. 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, 5.7.
And
And 5. Thank you.
that you pulled 5.4. No.
Yeah, 5.2 and
Oh,
5.3.
okay, sorry.
I second.
All those in favor of approving consent calendar action items just enumerated, please say aye. Objections? These consent calendar action items are approved. 5.3, trustee Jordan?
You want to do that one first? Okay. So,
Would you rather do 5.3 first?
That's what I said, 5.3.
right, yeah, that's fine. So I had two questions on that. One is the, CWDL CPAs for 52,000 something for the Measure I auditing, and how do you choose them? And is that the same firm that does the foundation and our audit?
Like any firm that we use, we actually go through the real bidding process. So they get good people out. And if you remember, this is the same firm that audited Measure Q.
Okay, I know. But they're not the same firm as the foundation and the college.
I don't know about the foundation. But I can answer the question.
Because my question was, at some point, would it make sense to bid the three together? Or not, and maybe the dates wouldn't line up necessarily.
The dates did not line up,
Okay,
but I can most certainly take a look at that with Julia.
yeah, it just seems like that would be, we might get a better deal if all three go out together.
Well, of course, we wouldn't do the measure with a bond audit
Okay,
at the same time, because we didn't know we were gonna get a bond this
right.
year. And so then this was off cycle, this is special.
And does this cover Measure Q? No, it's a separate,
Right, this covers Measure I. Measure Q is done.
done completely, and we don't have to revisit an audit once the bonds are paid off in 29.
You're correct.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I think you had one more
well, I
comment.
do, but
Yeah.
she may be following up on.
Well, I just had a quick question about the document that we're looking at.
5.3?
What is an MOU, and is this all of the funding that the college is getting, or are these payments that the college is making?
Actually, this is not all the funds that we receive. These are only agreements and MOUs that either we expend money from or we get revenue from.
Thank you for your question. I think trustee Lawrence.
Yes.
had a comment.
And so my second question was about the brain trust.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't seen for a little bit, in my memory. But I'm wondering, what's the difference between the brain trust and Wheelhouse, and how do they interact?
Actually, they're two separate programs.
Right.
What the Wheelhouse does, because I went through it, I think Julia wrote about it, and Dr. Morris is going through it in this next cohort. They focus on vice presidents that aspire to be CEOs. And their program is very static. And where the collaborative brain trust is that they worked with me and other CEOs to develop an innovative program that is not static. That they ask our cohorts, our deans and directors, what makes better sense for you? What do you want to learn to move up to the vice president level? And so they did develop a program that is geared just for CR's cohorts only. And that's where it's unique. My comment to the Brain Trust and others originally was, I find it not worthwhile to send staff to current conferences because they learn things that they learned last year. So there's nothing new. And so that was the impetus for this new program.
Okay.
The pivot in 60 is the,
Pivot in 60 is a new program.
Is there a motion to
I
approve
move to
5.3?
approve 5.3.
5.3.
Second.
All those in favor of approving and ratifying contracts, agreements, and their use specified in 5.3, please say aye. Objections? It is approved. 5.2.
Well, there's there's a major, name on this list that I think we really need to acknowledge. President Flamer's retirement, and it really did not seem that he should be part of just a group motion. He's way too special. You're only gonna hear that once. And
Yeah, but of course, it's in the minute, so keep going.
okay, but I want to acknowledge everything he has done in the last 19 years. And as president of this institution, how he has made us a much better place, a much better institution, has brought forward some incredible ideas, has created a great cabinet. And I'm very grateful for his leadership. You know, and we don't have to approve this retirement, even though the news media said the board will approve it. There's nothing written down that we have to approve this retirement, but of course we will. And I just want to say, I really appreciate everything you've done, your dedication. And I'm not going to go as far to say you'll be missed, but thank you. But thank you. And I really appreciate how you're making this transition so smooth, how everybody's been working together on it, and how it's been orchestrated, and it shows how united we are as a board and a community and the college community in moving forward. So thank you for your dedication, sir.
I also pulled this particular item for similar reasons. I thought I would be remiss in not highlighting this particular item in consideration, specifically President Flamer's pending retirement. While I certainly anticipated the announcement, I have to confess it was somewhat emotional for me to actually read the letter that he wrote to the college community. It was just so beautifully crafted in classic President Flamer style. We're going to have future opportunities to thank President Flamer for his outstanding stewardship of CR. I want to thank him right now, though, for how hard he was working, has worked, to ensure that the district has ample opportunity to prepare for his departure and conduct a national search. The fact that he's given us 1 year notice is an important highlight. It will give us time. It's going to be not easy to find a replacement, but we will be successful. He has worked very closely with the ad hoc committee that I spoke to earlier to help us review policies and procedures, and will continue to work not on the search committee, of course, but to serve as an assistant in helping us, for example, set up the timeline, the website, and researching search firms. So I just wanted to thank him for being so proactive. And as I said, we will have future opportunities to thank him, but I wanted to take this moment also. Thank you, President Flamer, for all you do and do to support. Is there a motion to approve
I second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Objections? It's proved. You can't back out now.
Well, you could.
Wait, or not as long as I'm president.
Which is only 2 more hours.
The second one, all things.
Okay, that moves us to. God, we approved the academic calendar with everybody objecting. Okay, that takes us to action item 6.1 to approve the monthly financial status report. Is there a motion to approve it?
I so move.
I second it.
President Flamer, is there anything you would like to say regarding this action item?
Yes, thank you very much. If you will notice that our fund reserve looks at the moment of 8%. And I want to remind the board that I've often said that the accounting / the way that we budget is not a science, it's an art. So at next month's, you will see where we will deposit a little over $2 million check that we just received. And that will put our fund reserve significantly higher. So I just didn't want the board to think that we are not on top of it. It's just the way the calendar happened to have fallen.
Are there further questions, Trustee Jordan?
So looking at the capital outlay, since we've spent vast majority of it, is there a plan to add to it, or we're done with this particular capital project?
So that is something that Vice President Morris and I will speak about, just right after the break.
Okay,
What in particular were you looking at with that question? Trustee?
capital outlay, use of funds, near the bottom, that there's.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay,
we
so it's
spent
on a different statement.
94,000 of it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Further questions or comments? Trustee Rice?
One was good. There was, I think it's on this one. There were a number of expenditures for like Amazon and something else, and they were all round numbers. I'm gonna have to, I'll ask it and it was not a big issue. I can follow up.
It's
Later.
because we don't have pennies in them?
It was just odd. I just saw it. There was like a whole list of, there were a whole list of transactions, and I think a lot of them were with relative to ag, and they were all round numbers like 50 and 100, and I didn't know. It just seemed interesting, and I assumed there was a different thing other than somebody actually going to the store and spending that exact amount.
Are you referring to the CalCord report or the PO?
One of those. I'll figure out. So I found out which one I.
It was just encumbering the money.
Well, if you were asking those questions, I will give you much more detailed answer.
Okay,
But trustee,
Yeah, I think it's just encumbering the money and then they can spend up to that much money and then they have to go back and get it approved again.
that makes
Because
total
you
sense now.
establish a
Yep.
purchase order at the beginning of the year, so to speak, and then
Got it.
charge
you
it.
have,
as
you have your.
Right, which was why I asked you whether it was the PO report or CalCord.
Got it. It was the PO report.
Yeah,
That's the one. That's the explanation.
It covers.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any further questions on the monthly financial status report?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the monthly financial status report, please say aye. Objections, it is approved. That takes us to 6.2, which is approving the quarterly financial status report. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
I'll second.
President Flynn, any background on this you'd like to share? Additional background, I should say.
Nothing at all.
Do you have any questions or comments, concerns? Hearing none, it appears, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to comment on the quarterly financial report with the concerns that are listed. Nothing about those three concerns is new. And no, it's not a surprise. But they're significant. And I just want to acknowledge that they are significant potentially for us because not everything is really stable and static.
Yeah, I think that's wise to acknowledge that we still have challenges. And they must have ongoing challenges.
Yes.
Hearing no further questions or comments, all those in favor of approving the quarterly financial status report, please say aye.
Aye.
Objections, it is approved. We're moving to 6.3 to approve sabbatical recommendations for 26-27. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
President Flamer, is there anything you'd like to add to the background piece you provided?
I did not unless the board has any questions. I think that I provided the summaries of every proposal, all three proposals.
Yes.
I was really impressed with the depth and the breadth of these proposals. I especially appreciate the fact that the interest in creating text and curriculum that's at free or reduced cost for students. I think that's really important. And I was also reminded of the expertise of Dr. Eneme. And we're so lucky to have him on our campus. And the fact that the students can take pride in the fact that you know, he's the author of their textbook.
Mhm.
And I just think they're all three very worthy projects.
Yeah, trustee Rice.
One thing I noticed, that certificate program, is that it was mentioned by Chancellor Christian about the fact that that's one of the pushes for Vision 2030. And how, like a lot of other things, I learned at the conference because it's all new to me. CR seems to be ahead of the curve on a lot of those activities, so that was cool to see that.
I think we are.
Look that way, but I'm a newbie, I guess.
I would just simply observe that, you know, the three faculty members, Dr. Emenaker, Professor Rhodes, Mr. Callahan, all of their proposals I thought were extremely well crafted, easy to read, and they were very different, the three of them, you know, the textbook, and then working collaboratively with various groups to create a non-credit certificate program, and then Professor Callahan to develop a high-quality microbiology course. I just thought they were very well done, and it's a pleasure to read them. Are there any other comments or questions or concerns? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of approving at least 3 sabbatical recommendations for 2027, please say aye.
Aye.
Objections? They are approved. Congratulations, faculty, well deserved. We're moving to 6.4, and that is to approve a 3-year retirement incentive for CSEA. Is there a motion to approve?
I second it.
Anything you'd like to add to this, President Kleinman?
Thank you. I really want to thank Rachel Worsey for working so closely with us to make this happen for our classified staff. It was a very interesting and fun conversation.
Trustee Dorn.
Do you have any idea of potentially how many people may be interested in it?
No, I have some names in my head, but those are things I'm going to keep.
You may notice this originally was going to be a consent calendar action item. That's how it's categorized. But we thought it was, it really was important enough. Not that everything is important, but that should be a standalone item as an action item. Again, I want to thank CFDA and President Flamer for working together to make these contracts fair, serving this CFDA. Hearing no further comments or questions, are those ready to approve the 3-year retirement incentive for CSEA, please say aye.
Aye.
Objections? It is approved. Congratulations. So now we're back to recognitions. President Flamer?
Thank you. So our students are gone, but there's someone else or 2 other people that I would like to call your attention to. Skyler's here, and his partner in crime, Tim, but he's not here at the moment. I don't see Tim. But these 2 folks are sincerely rock stars for the college. It's amazing how far that department IR has come in the last year or 2. We've come to rely on both Tim and Sky tremendously. I want to acknowledge their work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's one of the best parts of the
It
agenda.
is the best part.
That takes us where to, oh, good. The Child Development Center Self-Evaluation Report.
Should we have Wendy on?
No, she was not coming. So we have the report. Anything you'd like to say about that? They always write a very complete, very fine report, and it's always interesting to read and So, who would have written this, Wendy?
Wendy Hill, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wendy Hill, for writing this board report. It's very appreciated. And thank you for all the work you're doing there. Good job.
I do have a question.
Yes, yes.
It doesn't really give us real clear data in terms of the students, number of students that we're serving. I was curious about the number of students that are in the program, and then the number of students who are children of our students at
Employees?
college, yeah, or versus employees.
Dr. Morse, do you have any idea of those answers? If not, I can most certainly, if we don't have one, I can follow up. I'll follow up with the board.
Thank you. So that takes us to, 7.3, our compliance with the faculty obligation number requirements in the 50%. This is a discussion item, information submitted by Vice President Morrison. Is there anything you would like to add to this?
I'd like to make a correction to the backward verification.
Yes.
On the third paragraph, it says, CR 2024 full-time compliance number. That should be fall 2025.
Mhm.
And also in the next paragraph, where it says in comparison, that number at the end of that sentence should read 72.3 and not 67.
Oh, 72.3
Yeah,
rather than 67.
right.
When I was first exposed to this some 19 years ago,
We were filing a waiver.
I
I remember that. I distinctly have that memory burned in my head, yes.
I was really kind of puzzled by the whole thing. I'm thankfully, after 19 years, I'm no longer puzzled. But I do want to say that we went through some pretty scary times back in the day where we were not at 50%, and it could have led to some pretty serious consequences. So I really appreciate that the district has really monitored this. Once I understood what it was all about, I thought it was a good thing that we had this to ensure that we're not spending all of our funding on, a bloated administration, but it's going to primarily funding who we serve, which is the student. Yes.
The other thing I've appreciated learning, they talk about the right side of the 50%, on the wrong side. Our counselors, our student advisors, and some very important staff that contribute to the success of our students are counted as part of faculty. And I know, that we want to support the students through counselors and advisors. And it's too bad we can't get credit for doing that, but at least we're not filing waivers anymore like we used to.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. It is unfortunate the way they set up their denominator and numerator, and that can really trip us up when we really are funding positions to support the students. And it's not always acknowledged in this faculty obligation number. Trustee Jordan.
I always ask this question. So a couple years ago, they started that the legislature was looking at revising this. Has there been any updates or any revision that you know of?
I do. I was part of a conversation about this, and there's a long history of the debate about where counselors sit either at the numerator or not. We couldn't reach agreement what was best. So the last conversation was if we put counselors, if the state put counselors on the numerator, then that 50% goes up to 75%.
Ooh.
Right, and so the faculty lobby is strong. And I believe that the counselors should be at the numerator, because what they do is teach students, both in the classroom and outside. But that has not been the prevailing feeling in the state of New York.
Kind of.
Are you familiar with that? Is that, so by law, this is a long history. The law first focused on making sure that 75% of instruction costs was on full-time faculty. This was about 25 years ago. Then the state said, well, that's not fair, so let's say half. And so that's how long we have done this for, gosh, 24 years or thereabouts.
Of the personnel costs.
Well, that's not exactly true. So we think it's not clean, it's not very clean, but it was, I would just simply say 50% of instructional costs. And that could be personnel, it could be ISS, it could be other instructional costs. We have in the past skirted that number, and at some point we're at 48%. I view it as the 50% is a basement. I always shoot for 52%. Because that's not the indicator of our success. It's how many faculty do we need to help students be successful in our program. That's the benchmark, not how much instructional costs we need. Is what do we need? So that's why we're high, and I'm perfectly fine being higher.
Thank you.
Thank you for the discussion. I think it's a good conversation to have. That takes us to organizational reports, Academic Senate.
Hello, I apologize, I was unable to provide a written report, but I would like to give a short verbal, if that's all right.
Of course.
I just want to start by extending my gratitude and appreciation to President Flamer for really engaging with Senate leadership and ensuring that the faculty voice is really at the table and part of the major initiatives that are taking place at the college. I think he is very, very good about that, and I greatly appreciate it. I also want to recognize the DE team. He's still here in the room. I walked over from the pool party, accessibility pool party, I should be specific. I was at an actual pool. I had a prop. Oh well. This was an opportunity to make a space available for faculty to come and learn some ways to make their documents more accessible. Tomorrow there'll be a second session, which will be a Zoom session. This was an in-person session today. And I want to say about 15 folks showed up. I think that's about right. And so that's pretty good attendance on during finals week, and it was useful and helpful. And it's an amazing, our DE team is amazing. I don't know how many times I can say that. We love them, we appreciate them so much. The second thing I'll provide are just a couple of brief announcements. We are going to have a special meeting this Thursday to consider a petition to change the minimum qualification for history. This has been proposed and approved already by our 3 esteemed history colleagues, George Patamianos, Justine Shaw, and Stacey Ann Salinas. And so that's the only agenda item, and we hope to talk about that on Thursday. Also, our Academic Senate Executive Committee recently met to discuss the communication flow between our Senate subcommittees and the Senate Exec Committee, which sets the agenda for the large Senate. We call it the Big Senate. And so we're going to be trying to experiment this semester. We're not making any official changes to our bylaws, but we are going to change the processes for the spring to see how it works. So on the 4th Friday of the month, the chairs of those committees will be invited to come to the executive committee to give us an update on what's going on in their committees, to ask for agenda items, and to explain their kind of expertise, depth of knowledge that they have in their subcommittees to the executive committee. We can't know everything about everything, and there is work that overlaps between committee work. And so it's also an opportunity for those chairs to hear from one another what's going on in the various subcommittees and see how they might need to collaborate on particular items. So we'll be trying that out this spring.
see, also, we are very focused on the curriculum stoplight. I would say we're putting a spotlight on the stoplight, which is, was mentioned, I think, in your report as well. So, this is a way in which we make sure that we're in compliance with our curriculum updates, and our goal is to have the lights green. We have a March 1st deadline for curriculum updates to be submitted for this. That's the cutoff for this academic year. And so a big push to support particularly associate faculty who are the single faculty teaching in a discipline and, you know, do not have a lot of time given to them for curriculum changes, but there are opportunities to support them through that. I also just want to mention I'm serving as the mentor, one of the faculty mentors, and it came to our attention in our most recent meeting. I'm not totally shocked, but we hired several people who had a lot of out-of-date curriculum, so they immediately had to hit the ground running with learning how to do that. I think our music teacher, I don't remember how many he had. I know our egg teacher had, I think, 9 things to update. And it isn't so much about the content of the curriculum, as they shared in our conversation. It's really about utilizing this curriculum, how to actually put the things in properly. They understand teaching, but there's a lot of processes involved in updating curriculum through that. eLumen, which will be changing to Course Dog. So that's another change that's going to be happening and why we have a deadline of March 1st. In addition to President Flamer also mentioned assessment processes. This is another thing that we're very focused on and interested in continuing to engage about. I especially appreciated his comment about moving from a culture of compliance to a culture of improvement. And that really requires faculty to have time to meet and to talk to each other and to collaborate. And so we have proposed a flex session, Academic Senate leadership in conjunction with CRFO, to have a conversation about rebooting the all faculty meeting. It's not something we've been doing. It's been 5 years since COVID, and I think we're all trying to fully come back and talk to each other and find ways to work together to make things better. That's essential. We can't change that culture without the chance to work together closely. And today's pool party was a successful example of how that can happen. One last thing is just, I want to acknowledge Dr. Ryan Emenaker as well, and just mention that we are working on another flex session that's built on that work that was started. And we've been working with President Flamer to propose a series of workshops for next spring as well. It's going to build on that free speech concept. We're thinking about changing the way we call it, what we title it, but the idea that conversations on campus are very important and that we need to have them respectfully, and it's okay to disagree. We need to treat each other kindly. So that's all.
Thank you, Professor Johnson.
That's what I have so far.
So far.
Do we have Professor Haggerty with us, CRFO report?
Yes.
Are you there?
Hello, good to see you, everybody. Sorry I couldn't be with you in person. I didn't want to spread
Yes.
around this.
There you are.
So I did submit I did submit a written report, just kind of highlighting some of the stuff that's going on. When Professor Bernadette Johnson was just talking, you know, I was thinking that we work together on so many things. So know that all your faculty groups are kind of working together on these issues that we're dealing with. I will, as I put in my report, Eric Kramer will be taking over the president role next semester when I'm on sabbatical. So he'll be reporting to you. Amber Bunton, one of our math instructors, is going to take over as the vice president role. So that'll be really nice to get some new people doing some new things. And besides that, I just want to wish you all happy holidays. Any questions for me?
I wish you well for your fall semester sabbatical. Very good. Glad to hear you're going on it. Okay. I think now we are ready for our CSEA. President Orsi?
One small thing to add to my written report. We are going through elections right now, so we will have a few new board members starting in January, and our union's a little bit different in the fact that there's CRFO and Academic Senate, but CSEA functions both in the shared governance realm as well as our union realm. And so I was just doing an end of the year report to our membership, and looking over, we've had a lot of change in leadership and new people stepping up. We have 9 new people that have stepped up this year to serve on district committees, which is really exciting. We also pretty much have a full new board. I do know who our new VP is, but I haven't announced it yet, but this person's really focused on shared governance and has been here for a while, so I'm really excited for their participation, and so I'll update you guys at next one. Other than that, I will take any questions.
I just wanted to thank you all for your advocacy for Proposition 3055.
Yes.
3055, yeah. I think it's important to advocate for that, and so it's important to ensure that we can maintain the funding that we need for public education. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being at our meeting. Oh. No, this wasn't your report, it was the next report, management report. It's notes on that as well.
You have the written report, and I don't have anything to add to that, but I'd be happy to take any questions.
Well, those are great pictures.
Yeah,
really
weren't they?
good.
There was
Yeah.
supplied by some members of the management council.
Yeah, it's so good, and it was wonderful to see that photo of Ms. Geyer, who received that honoree for California adult education students. That was really lovely.
It is,
So
and Amber's very proud.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing her and sharing that with all of us. Yeah, it was a fun report to read. I like pictures.
Noted.
Noted.
Okay. Well, now,
Yeah, she's done.
yeah,
We got 2 has-beens.
Watch it now.
Thank you for being here at our meeting. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Let's see, it looks like that, student trustee.
Hello. I just have one thing to report, from December 4th to the 7th, I had the opportunity to go to the Student Senate for California Community Colleges Advocacy Academy with a few other students from ASCR, and there were a lot of different community college ASBs there, and it was very insightful. I think I learned a lot. I don't think I learned a lot. I did learn a lot. And one of the workshops that really stuck with me was the storytelling workshop, where I learned how to tell my story and other people's stories if they are okay with it, and frame it in a way that asks for advocacy. And it was very insightful, and I really look forward to the DC's federal advocacy in March.
Okay. Thank you, student trustee. Glad you had an opportunity to attend that. It sounds like a really great experience. That moves us to our administrative reports. President Blamer.
Thank you. I've often talked about the work that the college is doing to boost enrollment. Last year, our enrollment surpassed our targets, so we were put in a great position for enrollment growth. And I'm happy to report that this fall semester, we have surpassed our target by 10%. And we are on track to surpass all spring's target by about 5 to 6% of the number of students taking union. So that's good. So I fully also expect that with spring semester numbers will increase further. because of the work that we've done to hire faculty mid-year, especially going into welding and fire tech. Those are high unit value courses that generate significant FTS. So we should be in a better position at the end of spring semester. So this year, I'm hoping, actually, I'm not hoping, I'm telling people that our target is to surpass our initial target by about 5%. So we are very, very strong there because as we know by boosting FTS, we also boost revenue. And we save jobs and we get students in better position. And what I also found interesting, just by personally look at fall's numbers, is that as you know, that after COVID, we had a lot more new students coming in. I found it really intriguing that this fall, the number of new students actually decreased. So we're doing a much better job of retention. But also the number of students coming in have increased in age. So the biggest growth is 40 to 46 and above. And students going into career education. So we'll have a much better report and more detailed report in January. But also I want to congratulate Kevin Karate because he has been hired as the district elf. And I'm surprised that no one mentioned that on my board report. I think Trustee Weiss mentioned it. Is that right? So
I wanted to say thank you for that humor.
you bet.
I just giggled and I thought, this is so fun.
It was fun. So with his permission, I'm mentioning and saying, thank you for applying and it was a great job and it's thank him for putting a giggle in all of our mouths. So this is good. That is my board report. Unless you have questions or concerns. Oh, just questions.
I guess I want to follow up with what Professor Johnson said. I want to thank you for putting the spotlight on the curriculum stoplight. And because it's just so important. It's so easy to maybe fall behind. And I think having Dr. Morse sort of shepherd that through is brilliant. So I have every confidence that it's all going to go well, but I think it's good that you're noting that because we want to maintain our strong accreditation position going forward. I forgot about the L. Thank you. Let's see. Miss Morrison, you've been out and about. Driving down to LA and back, are you there?
Yes,
There
I
you
have.
are. That was a long drive.
It was, and I've done it twice now, and actually I enjoy it. I think part of it has to do with the fact that both of my grandfathers were truck drivers, so I think I have it in my blood.
Oh, that's good.
So I, just speaking for myself, I thoroughly enjoyed reading the report. And I'm just so pleased that you had those opportunities to attend those events. It just sounded like a really great experience for you. I don't want to take the words out of your mouth. I just want to let you know how much I appreciated reading the report, the ROI sort of concept that you brought back with you. There were many important concepts. The idea, the importance of working together, maintaining a culture of care for students, faculty, and staff. That was another one of your primary takeaways. I thought it was a well done report, and I'm very appreciative that you had that opportunity. But,
Me as well. Thank you. And I was grateful of the alignment of those three events in such a short period of time in the same area. So definitely had to take advantage.
Yes. Trustee Dorn.
I thought as well, I thought that was probably one of the most outstanding reports I've read in 19 years on the board. I really enjoyed how you wove the whole dialogue through, the narrative through. I actually read it twice or three times, so which is unusual for me. But I do have questions about ROI. And is that sort of becoming the new buzzword? Because Trustee Rice and I didn't hear it at the conference at all. But it sounds like from the chancellor's office, it's pretty big. So if you could expand on that, and also, I don't understand what a negative impact is, how a student can take a class and it would have a negative impact. So if you could explain that as well.
Yeah, so I'll touch on that first. So that negative impact, it could be where the student, say, that, for example, maybe they're a working student, but they want to try to get a better career. But they end up taking classes. They have to forego work in the meanwhile, and also maybe taking classes part-time. But basically, at the end, they could have potentially whatever they worked into, maybe it might have been a goal for them, but maybe earnings-wise, the investment they had to make time-wise and money-wise to gain that education and the end result of the career that they could move into, it doesn't work out economically over time. So that would be one example. But to further expand, so I think there's going to be more information coming out. I think just the bigger idea was to be responsible in the programs that you're offering. And I don't think I mentioned this in the written report, but I mean, the fiscal impact is one of the most important, but you do need to look at the qualitative factors as well. I think some of them more the liberal arts might be certain degrees that they have their role, but they might, if you were to look at that return on investment from a monetary viewpoint, it might not pan out as positive. I think we're going to see more of this coming through. As I mentioned in the report, the ACCJC is going to have a convening specifically on this topic. So I'm hoping to get a better roadmap of, how do you actually accomplish this? So obviously there's going to be data that we might be gathering some of it right now, but on the intake of students, we might need additional data to consider what the baseline is. And then further to, how do we capture that, once they graduate and they move on and what they do, how do we capture that as well to really get a meaningful data set to make that analysis? Does that answer your questions?
I think so, but I'm two things. So if you have a student that's taking classes and working, that's an incredible amount of work that your office has to go into to examine that student's life to come up with that equation of whether it was beneficial or not. Correct?
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be just my office. I think it's going to be a joint effort across different departments.
And then what's going to happen with all this information in the end? What's the end outcome or goal?
I think the ultimate outcome would be, assessing new programs before we bring them on, and also looking at certain programs to see if maybe they need to be revitalized or another route.
So if you took the example of the welding program, I mean, that would be very easy, correct? To do ROI on? I mean, just because, actually the police academy, because how many were hired?
All.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
May I make a point on this one real quickly?
Please.
One of the positives about having this conversation in the ROI at the state level is that it brings a conversation that we've been having at the college level about the value of education, but also a value of a department, and say that we aren't run as a business, although we do have revenue and the money that we put out, right? So how do we measure our success based on what the student success is? And so it helps us quantify that whole conversation about the value of what we do. Welding is probably easy, but we have a long conversation about healthcare. That takes a lot of money, and we don't have a lot of graduates. So we always have to fight this conversation about how much money are they bringing in to balance out how much money is going out. So hopefully then we can start shifting that whole conversation about the value of the work that we do and the students that we graduate.
Yes, Christy Dorr.
But in healthcare, if you take the RN program, I mean, there's a incredible return for the student on a 2-year program, just knowing what my daughter started at. So I guess I'm still a little confused.
No, I think if I may,
Please do.
I think you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
That there's a value what the students can make it to the job. And there's a value of what we produce for our district, our community. But the question is, and the question that we've had to wrestle with, because we have questions from other people, is that as we set the budget, is how much money is going to this department versus this other department, what the overhead costs. So hopefully then we can start getting out of that conversation about what the overhead costs are, but looking into what the value of the institution by having each department, each program.
I struggle with it too.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually sort of thinking about going forward, and will you use this when you develop that curriculum there?
We will have to.
Okay, that's, yeah.
We have to start shifting that conversation.
Trustee Rice.
So the ROI concept then can be used by decision makers at the college about programs or classes, but it also has value from the perspective of the student as far as what you're providing them, and that when you put those together, it can get a little confusing.
Okay.
But this idea, this economic concept is kind of being applied to make sure the service that we're using our resources wisely. Am I understanding that correctly?
We're using wisely and as effectively for our communities as we can.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was really interesting.
Vice President Martin, is there anything you would like to add to that conversation we just had?
Yeah.
So very patiently listened to.
No, I don't think there's anything to add. I'm just really thankful to be hearing this conversation and the response to my report. So thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing your report and for attending our meeting. That takes us to 9.3, Vice President of Instruction and Student Development, Dr. Kristen Morse.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to give a little bit of feedback. I do have some numbers that Trustee Vivian inquired about regarding the CDC's informational report. We currently have 58 children enrolled with a capacity of 70. And so we anticipate more enrolling for the spring. It's in progress now. And of the 58 children, 37 parents are working, 38 are attending classes. Some of them are doing both. So 38 attending classes, and 8 of the families are considered high needs. And so therefore there's a double count that occurs when we have working and attending student parents. Other than that, I submitted a written report for the board's review and information. I'm happy to address any questions that arise.
Trustee Jordan.
So you may not know this, but I was curious about the dual enrollment and what's the status of the ninth graders.
How many?
Well, I mean, are they increasing along with the 150%, or how's that going?
It's going very well. Ninth graders actually comprise a significant number of our GS7, which is My Future, My Plan.
Okay.
Most commonly scheduled dual enrollment courses across all of our high schools within our service area.
Good job.
If I may, I'm going to break that down in January as we look at.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee Biggin had a question.
I think you said there was like 8 high schools participating. Was it?
Correct.
Was Hoopa one of the high schools?
Hoopa participates, but we don't have any classes scheduled at Hoopa right now. We have forestry and natural resources in the works for late spring, even in next fall 26.
Okay.
Thank you for your report. It's very well done, very clear, and informative. Appreciate the time you take in putting it together. That moves us to Executive Director of College Advancement and Foundations, Marty Cuervo.
Good afternoon, trustees. In addition to my report, I would just like to publicly thank the Del Norte Healthcare District for making that additional $59,000 donation on top of the $1 million that they've already provided to CR for advancement of our healthcare program. And our matching gift campaign in December is going pretty well. We've already received 5 commitments, $18,000. So that is still continuing. It's very popular and bringing in new donors. Any questions?
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. For being at our meeting, the full meeting. Okay. Ready to call this one a wrap? Okay, we're moving to agenda item 10. Is there a request to put an item on the agenda? Yes, trustee Dorn.
Yes, I would like, and I don't know how you want to phrase it, the update on the Brown Act. Whether you just check with the attorneys and give us a synopsis, or we do something.
Is that a reasonable request?
Very much,
Okay,
yes.
we all must approve this request. I'm also wondering if it might be too soon, but this is always a good topic for one of our workshops. I don't know if we'll be ready for it in January, but we can talk about that, or we'll be talking.
Ooh, you're almost.
Oh, you're almost.
Now we're about to close the meeting.
Okay, so, yeah, there are no objections to that request. Anything else? Okay, I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a happy Kwanzaa, a happy holiday. And I hope you all have a wonderful break. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
We are officially adjourned.